this institutional experience and knowledge, but then also being able with the up and coming newer partners, they have the strategies that they can use what they've learned from people who have, 50 years legal experience with new technologies and things that are coming out. It's the perfect storm.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Britt Frank, Marketing Director at Gimbel, Reilly, Guerin Brown. Britt, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. And thank you for your great pronunciation.
Oh, well, I'll pat myself on the back for that one. Thank you very much. Appreciate you spending some time with us on Business Ninjas. Please tell us about yourself and about Gimbel, Reilly, Guerin Brown.
Happy to. And just to make your life a little easier, we can call it GRGB because that's how we affectionately refer to it here. So yes, Britt Frank. I hail from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Born and raised here, always been a huge cheerleader of the city. I think we're incredibly underrated, and we have all of the arts and the restaurants and the community without the traffic. So it's a win-win. I won't mention the winters, but it's just such a phenomenal place. So obviously I've loved Milwaukee for a long time. And with that, when I had the opportunity to join a law firm that had the same love for Milwaukee as myself, it was a no-brainer. So not only do we get to do great things for our clients, but we get to support the community as well. So I just couldn't ask for anything more.
Oh, we love hearing about happy symbiotic relationships.
Yes.
What's your background? How did you come to the firm?
Yeah, I mean, like probably many people, it was definitely not a straight road. In college, I thought I wanted to be a reporter. I tried that for a moment. It was a lot more challenging than I thought. So I decided, this isn't quite for me. Maybe I'll try, I love the law and I love nonprofits. Actually ended up going to grad school here in Milwaukee as well for nonprofit management. And got a job at a legal nonprofit, our local bar association, which is actually one of the oldest bar associations in the country, and just a great organization. And it was really nice because I got to kind of blend the two loves of nonprofits and law together and really get immersed into the legal community without, having to do that really hard work of representing the clients. So I spent 15 years at that nonprofit running one of their public service programs, and it was great. And then I decided, it might be time to switch things up a little bit. And GRGB had reached out to me and said, what do you maybe think about marketing? And I said, I'm not used to a whole lot of marketing. I'm used to dealing with nonprofit money and budgets. So that's probably helpful for you because that's pretty much zero. But I do know a lot about the legal community and I love it. So, let's give it a shot. I'm in my mid-30s. Why not? And it just turned out to be the best decision ever. I came over here and I did have the privilege, and the benefit of already knowing a lot of the attorneys and obviously a lot about the firm. This firm is known as one of the leading law firms in Milwaukee. It's been around since 1968 when Frank Gimbel started it. And he has, always been really involved in Milwaukee. And he's a common name around here. He's a Milwaukee icon. So that kind of made my job marketing easier because so many people already knew about him. And the people that he brought on, the founding partners with him, obviously, are Richard Reilly, our Mike Guerin, and our Tom Brown, all just had amazing legal careers, well known, very well liked because they were just always wanting to help, always wanting to talk to everybody. There was no competition or anything else. It's let's all do the right things together and help the people in Milwaukee. So, and of course, over the years, it expanded from, criminal and family to then the civil department. Although, of course, we are still incredibly well known for criminal defense, family law, but we do have a thriving civil litigation practice, personal injury, a lot of real estate. They're trial lawyers here. That's what they do. They like going to court. They like fighting for what's right, and they're not just willing to settle. So insert, more new people throughout the years, people graduating to partner, kind of new waves of partners, people who were just kind of legal savants like Ray DeLosto and Pat Knight, Dennis Regan, everybody has just been, we've just gotten really lucky with adding to the team these notable people that not only mesh well together, but really seem to be trendsetters in the legal field in Milwaukee, if not nationally. So now here we are, 2025. They did decide, maybe around the time that I came on, that they need to bulk up their web presence and, online social media, things like that. I came in, I tried to do a lot of catching up and learning in a small amount of time, and realized that I just absolutely love doing it, every aspect of it. Some more than others, but it's all been such a learning process and an experience that I can't complain.
Hey, sounds like a perfect scenario to walk into. First of all, well liked, I don't think is a top 20 reason anybody has ever spoke. I don't think anybody says that about their attorney. They're well known,
Yes.
So you walked into a room of talented, bright, aggressive people that people like to work with. I mean, as a marketer, that's got to be a gift to you, right?
Absolutely. And, they're down to earth. They're not intimidating. We're people like everybody else. People make mistakes. People get in legal situations. People need wills. People get divorced. People adopt. So we understand. There's, not this tier here that our attorneys are at the top. We're all in this together. So the motto here has always been, if people can walk out in a better situation than they walked in, we're happy.
Hey, and the fact that they're trial attorneys who like to go to court means they're confident and skilled, and that's a negotiation point right there. The opposition knows I'm not going to get them to settle on the low side early because they like to do their thing. So that
Exactly.
yeah, you're representing the right people. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You've already named a bunch of differentiators just in terms of being part of the fiber of the community and history and people that really like to make people have great outcomes. Any other great differentiators in terms of your competition in Milwaukee?
Everything that we do is because we're so relatable, but also just, think outside the box. The strategies that people come up with. I mean, and I will say it's been so nice having this wave of partners that, besides Mike Guerin, who unfortunately passed away, Frank Gimbel, Richard Reilly, and Tom Brown are all very still involved in the firm. So all of these attorneys have gotten to learn from them, as well as, they passed down to the generation of partners that joined in the 80s. And then those partners passed down to the generation that joined in the 90s and 2000s. It's this institutional experience and knowledge, but then also being able, with the up and coming newer partners, they have the strategies that they can use what they've learned from people who have, 50 years legal experience with new technologies and things that are coming out. It's the perfect storm. So I think that we have the mentalities of large firms without the large firm prices, although, worth every penny what we do charge, but also without, the large firm intimidation. And it's a team here. It's not just one person working on a case. You're going to have kind of a meeting of the minds that are going to get together to figure out the best strategy. There's not this sense of ownership here of, this is my case, I don't want anyone else going near it. It's, hey, this this is what's going on. I'm thinking this. What does everyone else think? And that kind of brainstorming and bouncing ideas off of each other is, I think, what has really put us over the top. And, we're not just a sense of community out in Milwaukee, we're a community in the office. And so, I mean, people do, they chat during the day. People catch up, we know each other's families. So there's also that trust, and just kind of that collaboration that goes along with those relationships. So I think that's incredibly special.
Excellent. Excellent. And these new associates who you bring on, do they fit the mold of the sort of areas of law you already practice, or do each of them sort of bring a new area and expertise with them?
Both. I mean, here we really encourage people that if there is an area of law that really is, something they're interested in, especially there's been newer things that have come out. One of our really talented associates, got kind of involved and interested in the niche of, when unfortunately, this thing of revenge porn has become an issue, and, and people were having a really hard time having websites take down their things that were there without their permission. And it was mortifying, and it's, reputation devastating. And so I don't even know exactly how our associate found that he had this talent for getting these things removed, taken down, remedied, but he does. And it's been so helpful to a lot of people who really thought that their things were going to be in places, very private things in places forever. So when people come in, we show them, we mentor, and we get them involved, but we also say, once you've been doing this, what do you like to do? What's interesting to you? Is there a practice area that really jumps out? And then, of course, that's where I get to come in and have some fun and take it and run with it, and get them those calls.
Well, I know you and I have spoken previously. If you don't mind divulging your secret legal sauce in terms of thing, you are so on top of the pulse of your firm that you are chasing traffic that is niche specific based on the court cases you currently have, where a lawyer with a specific focus may have time on their hands, where they don't, and things like that. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. I definitely type A personality, and I'm just kind of an all or nothing person. And this has been helpful in some areas of my life and not helpful, such as sometimes overcommitting myself and things like that. But, um, I think that it's just so beneficial to anyone, but specifically marketing people. The way that it's going to work and the way that it's been successful here for me, it's not, a school I went to, something I studied or anything like that. I didn't go to school for any sort of marketing. I didn't know really anything about the actual ins and outs before I started this position, but I did know that I was passionate about the firm and I was passionate about what we did. So I made it my just kind of whole purpose to insert myself in every aspect of the firm. And again, I'm sure this very much annoyed some people many times, but I wanted to get to know everybody. I wanted to know what people liked, what they didn't like, where they saw the firm going, everything that we did, that we didn't do. I mean, and even how can I make staff more happy around here? If we needed a new refrigerator, I ordered it. There's no job description. It's more, what is the kind of meats and potatoes of this firm? And once I know all of that, I'm going to be able to share it with the world, because if you don't know that, how can you, say your message? So, and with that, I just kind of started taking on, I was like, wow, it'd be really helpful to know the entire lifespan of the person who first gets to the door. So, any incoming call or email or text message or instant chat, that's all through me. And yes, sometimes it's incredibly overwhelming. I can take 75 calls a day. But I have gotten really well at figuring out if we're a good fit. If we're not, how can I best help this person? And then I also get to, figure out what are they looking for? What are their demographics? How did they hear about us? I capture that information immediately, and then I know what happens to it next. If it's something that we take on, then I know how the case goes, and I can also do all of the exits, the client surveys, the client follow-ups, everything like that. I also know what we're getting an influx of calls in, and then what areas might be incredibly busy or in trial right now. And that means that I should shift some of our key phrases, key words around, to maybe give attention to other ones. Or, this month, let's focus blogs on these areas of law, and, maybe give that one a little downtime while they have 3 trials in a row. So, it's really helpful. And I know this isn't possible in every situation. And, sometimes it is, it's a big take on, but e- even though doing all the calls might seem like a lot, it's just so helpful in knowing where our firm is at. Plus, I also know it, what fees are coming in from these. So I know where our money's coming from, and I know where we need to, bring in more. That was a really good case that came from that part of town and that demographic. Well, let's use some targeting to maybe hit some other neighbors up and things like that. So, if you're really able to sink your teeth into it, it just is all such this domino effect that I think ultimately makes things a lot easier. And then you're not guessing about what you need to do. And again, being a mid-sized firm, we do well, but we don't have an unlimited budget. So I have to be smart with our resources.
You're describing an incredible level of continuity from first touch to trial. I mean, on both sides, both on the service side, the client feels attended and heard and directed to the right attorney and the right process. And your future clients are hearing the right things on the other end of the equation, and your firm is firing on all cylinders. So I applaud the approach. I don't know when you sleep, but
Yeah, that's a good question. I probably don't as much as I should, but it's a balance, and this is really what I love doing right now. So it works out. And, again, the firm is very rewarding in other ways. I do have 2 small children, and they're very family friendly. So there's definitely times that I need flexibility, and they understand that, yeah, this is the time you take to give the needs to your family.
excellent.
So that's also incredibly helpful.
Excellent. Switch gears for a minute. COVID was an incredibly challenging time. Tell me about the challenges and opportunities of sustaining a law firm through COVID.
I will say there was a lot of trial and error on my end. Some things worked great, some things not at all. Which, again, I think that's just part of marketing. Believe you me, I very much appreciate your compliments, but not everything I've done is a home run by far. So, my immediate thing was, okay, let's make sure that we redirect our resources right now to where people are, which at that point was online. So I really sunk a lot of things in, uh, basically, and I kind of shifted away from anything that we did on radio, and because I was like, wow, people aren't really in their cars, and right now we need to be where people are. So that was, a lot of online content, we tried to do a lot of kind of helpful free things. I also decided to really take the opportunity, because I knew that there were a lot of small businesses and nonprofits struggling, that I would use all of the firm's social media to just highlight Milwaukee businesses and nonprofits, nothing with us. Kind of do that share the love, which, just happy to do anyway. We also tried to pivot to things like we did a lot more. I had attorneys doing, Zoom CLEs and seminars like crazy. And then we did try and get into some practice areas that, such as, insurance specifically for, there were certain businesses, there were a lot of businesses that were trying to make insurance claims for, their business being hurt by the pandemic and seeing if that could be a claim they could be paid out on. That ultimately was ruled against. But, we gave it a shot and it taught us a lot about different things. Yeah, again, not everything's a home run, but we took some chances. So,
Hey, if you're paying attention, nothing's more educational than a mistake, right?
yeah, exactly.
If you're paying attention. Yeah.
Yes. And, we also knew to ramp up, and I don't mean to seem negative in this way, but I kind of figured that after the pandemic, certain situations might rise, like divorce, and this being married to a wonderful person, but cramped in that house with small kids. I'm not going to say I didn't think about running a few times. So I put a lot of resources to have our family law kind of up and ready to go and very prevalent for when that would happen. And then just, we did what we could. We tried to give free legal assistance to what we did. We opened up a hotline for healthcare workers, that a free legal helpline just through our firm for healthcare workers. And it was during healthcare worker hours. I think it was open from like 4:30 a.m. until 6 that we were taking calls, because that's a lot of times, right before their shift would start, and giving free legal advice on employment situations that were going on there concerning the pandemic and things like that. So we really just try to be creative, but also help.
A positive, flexible, aggressive environment. I mean, that just makes so much sense on every level. Now you've broached the subject of content a few times: radio, print, internet, etc. What role has content played in the growth of GRGB?
Oh, huge. I mean, I will say again, our founding people and after that, they were and are just master networkers, which is still incredibly important. And I think now probably the one part of marketing that is most overlooked. And I know here it's crucial to me that our attorneys and our staff serve on boards and go to events. I still think that's huge. But they did not have any sort of web presence. The website was just something that was, in the works. There was no social media. There was no blogs, written contents, white papers, videos, anything like that. So again, nice for me that I kind of had this like clean palette, from ground zero that I could just build and make on my own. And I feel, sick with power, but, it was just really nice to be able to, kind of start it and work our way up, and things, developed over time. It was slow, at parts, especially with myself being new to it. But, once the website got going, and then, things kind of snowball from there, like, we need an instant chat. We need text. We need blogs. We need, constant content updates, to keep us relevant. We need, the videos and the YouTube channels and the social media and everything like that. And we need to tie it all together in a way that makes sense and helps each other out. And then, let's backlink, let's work with other places that are going to mention us and we mention them. And again, COVID, I feel like we were able to excel in that because we did so many partnerships that there was some good opportunities there. So yeah, content, I mean, it's king and it continues to be. What changes is what type of content that is. And that's what we're all trying to keep up with.
Well, again, it sounds like you are about the most agile content person I know in terms of, again, staying on top of caseload and changing your direction of content that quickly to fill in the calendar. I applaud again.
Thank you. Yeah, it's very helpful to have support to think outside of the box and be able to make these quick turns. I have no red tape to go through, so that is very helpful.
Excellent.
I sometimes have some explaining to do when something I do doesn't work.
So why didn't that work? Yeah, no.
Yes, but no holdups. So I make decisions and changes on a dime.
Hey, that's fabulous. All right, look down the road a year from now. What are some things you'd like to be celebrating personally and professionally?
Such a great question. Professionally, obviously, another year here at GRGB, another year of the firm doing well, helping new people, keeping our existing clients happy, uh, continuing to just do good work in the community and support everything that we can. Obviously, I would like to be celebrating the wins of keeping up with AI and whatever new algorithm Google has thrown at me that day. So the usual there. But it all comes down to doing the good work for our clients. So I don't need to be the best at any of this. We don't need to be, the ones that are out there in the most places. We just need to be doing a good job for our clients. So that's the win that I keep my eye on. At home personally, obviously, I just had my daughter's 7th birthday and my son's 4th birthday is in 2 weeks. Those back-to-back birthdays are fun. So obviously I will look forward to celebrating the 8 and the 5, which I'm sure will be exciting and sad and scary and wonderful all at the same time. Continuing to just travel with the family and have fun, and continuing to keep them engaged in the community too. That's a big goal of mine. I serve on a lot of boards, and I've already gotten my daughter involved in a lot of them, a lot of nonprofit efforts as well. We've got to use her powers for good. So, and I hope everyone is just happy and healthy and thriving and whatever makes them happy.
Excellent. Excellent. Britt Frank, thank you for spending some time with us on Business Ninjas today. Inspiring to say the least. Continued success at GRGB. All the best to you and yours, and continue launching quality human beings on the planet while you're at it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
My distinct pleasure. Be well.